Good evening, everyone. I hope everyone's doing all right and is safe inside of their house. Okay, so in the first session, we discussed about on-page SEO. Yesterday, we discussed about off-page SEO and we did some keyword analysis. I hope everyone is now able to get some kind of hint about what SEO is, how it works, how the industry works, how do you have to do your competition analysis. I hope we are there now. The last thing of SEO that is usually related with engineers, that only computer science engineers can do technical analysis and no one else from any other field. I am going to try to break that myth of yours today, because technical SEO isn't really core coding. It doesn't involve any core coding. Just some basic tags here and there can do the trick for you. Okay, so let's begin without wasting any more time. As I said, we're going to talk about technical analysis. The second one is SEO audit, which is a part of technical analysis. Landing page SEO I've added to this workshop because it is one of the most important part of your website, the home page of your website. And for just to mix things up, I've also added some social media marketing for our SEO. Okay. So technical analysis is basically divided into 4 portions. The very first one is your website speed. The second one, I've already said, your website speed has to be lightning fast. As I said, wait for 2 seconds to load your website. So your speed has to be lightning fast. The next thing that I'm going to talk about is robots. Robots, what is robots.txt? For example, you have your own website, but on every website, you have a page of login ID, your sign-in page for your customers or for your colleagues or for your employee, whatever it is. So you usually have either a payments page, every page which involves putting in some kind of credentials from the side of your customer, from the side of the person who is going to be using your website. We use robots.txt file so that those pages are not crawled by your by the Google search crawlers, because if they will crawl those pages, it is a possibility that your security may be hampered, that your data may be lost, that your data may be mismanaged, or someone can misuse it. So for certain web pages on our website, we add robots.txt file to it, so that when and the crawler comes from the search engine to crawl our website, it when it sees robot.txt attached to that web page, it won't crawl it. The next thing that I'm going to talk about is sitemap. I have explained this in the prior workshop. Let's go over it again. What is a sitemap? As I said, for example, I leave you in Jaipur today without a map, without your phone. What will you do? You will not know how to reach your hotel. You will not know how to reach your train station or the airport or places to eat, nothing. So will it be easier for you if I just provided you with a simple map in your hand? Just like that, when a search engine crawler shows up at your door, if you provide it with a map, it's easier for the crawler to crawl your website. It won't take much time, and that will add to your ranking. It will be ranked higher. Your website will rank higher because the crawler did not have any problem in crawling your website. It did so very easily. Then comes canonical tag. Now, canonical tag, for example, at our Hofer's website, in the About Us page, we mention services, that these are our services, and some portion, some content is exactly same as we have it on the services page, because obviously you cannot change your services. The introduction to the service won't change, the features of the service won't change. It has to be the same. We may rephrase it, but it will still be the same. Anyway, so for example, if I take some content out of my services page and write it on my about us page. When we do technical analysis, when we do a site audit for a company, for your website, if there is a duplicacy in content anywhere on the website, if there are two duplicate content available on your website, it will show as an error. The crawler also will rank your website lower than any other, because as I said, and I've been mentioning this again and again, first of all, your content is king, and second of all, you have to be unique. You have to be unique with every word you write on every single web page of your website. It has to be different, it has to be unique. That is how only you're going to rank higher. So but when it comes to certain things such as services, we cannot change the services, we cannot change its introduction, we cannot change its features, just because we have to abide by the duplicacy error. So what we do, we put in this canonical tag to state to the crawler that this exact information is also available on the other page. This information that I have mentioned on the about us page, the same thing is available on the services page, and do not count this in your duplicacy error. How do you do this canonical tag thing? If you have coded your website, for example, then under the head tag, the one who is coding your website, the web development head, if you have any, or if you yourself are coding a website, canonical tag, as I've written it, you don't have to change anything. I've written the code itself here, link rel, canonical, href, page URL you want to copy. For example, I want to copy the services page to that of, you can say, about us page. So I will give the URL of services page, and I will put this part of code under my head tag on the about us page. That's all canonical tag is. There is no coding, nothing. Anyone can do it and everyone can do it. So you just have to copy this code that I've written here, write the URL of the page you want to copy, and write this code under the head tag on the page that you wish to copy it on. Okay, now I'm going to stop share here and let me take you through how to do the website speed analysis. Before we start, I have to make sure that I mention this. There are usually two tools, the two insight tools that we use when it comes to website speed check. We have to check our website speed. The first one is the Google Insight tool. If the metric shows greater than 90, you're good to go. If it is lower than 90, then you still have something to work on your website. The second tool is GTmetrix. In GTmetrix, your score should be greater than 80. If it's not, you have to still work on your website. Okay, let's move to GTmetrix. Give me a second, I'll share my screen. Okay, so for example, here is GTmetrix. And I write it a code, www dot, for example, hashrocket.com. Please don't mind, it will take a second to analyze the entire website. Okay, see, it has started to show the GTmetrix grade is C, okay, which is low. Now, what you have to do is you just have to scroll down. Here are the issues given to you, okay? These are all the issues that are given to you. Now, see, it says .mp4, .jpg. What are these issues? From the file itself, you can figure out if it's a .jpg or .png, you can figure out it is a picture. Now, why does it show error in this picture, because see, it says 554 KB, and I have mentioned it yesterday and day before as well, that every picture that will go up on your website should be lesser than 100 KB. That 100 KB is been crossed when as you can see here, it is 554, the other one is 552. These are really high as compared to the 100 KB guideline that your search engine gives. So as simple as that, you open this picture, you optimize it, you compress it to lower than 100 and upload it back again to your website. Other thing is your MP4. MP4, if this says 1.95 MB, this may be unplayable. Some content, when it comes to video or audio, sometimes they are unplayable, either in phone format, in your desktop format, or your mobile format. So you have to check that again. That is why it has been mentioned here. First come these issues. Then there's this. Now, there are two kind of codes that you have to care about. One is .js. .js means JavaScript, and the other language that you'll be dealing with is CSS. Okay, there will be only two files that you'll have to deal with. Either it would be .css or it will be .js. Now, I'm just telling you this, it actually does not matter. Okay, as soon as you see .js or .css, click on them, the code will open up. You don't have to do anything with the code, just do Control plus A. It will select it all together, the code, then do Control plus C, which means you are copying the code. Then move on to Google, and you're going to simply write, it is JavaScript, right? JS minify. Okay, now what is minifier? Now, why do we need this? First of all, see, we need to minify our sometimes our code. There's usually, see, this amount of code is on behind your website. This is the coding that's going. Sometimes there are certain parts of your code that was of no use. Okay, it is useless code that has been put into it, and it is creating a kind of hindrance in loading your website. The speed has reduced because there is some unusual or unused code in your behind your website. So what we do is we copy the code that was creating an issue. We go up to JS minify, or if it is a CSS file, you will write CSS minify, and you will click the very first one. As simple as that. Here, it says input JavaScript. Click here and Control plus V. Okay, you're going to paste everything. Then you're going to click minify. When you will click minify, it will take some time, and the minified output you will get here. Again, you will Control A and Control C. Copy this code. That's all you have to do. You don't have to do any coding or your end. You just minify it using a free tool, using a free website on Google itself. After you have copied it. Now, this is something I don't have it right now, because those are the panel that I have has websites from other people. Those websites aren't mine, so I can't open it. But there is this tool now which is called as cPanel. Now, what do you do in cPanel? See, you open cPanel and you're going to list your website there. Your entire website structure is going to open up. Okay, in that also you don't have to do anything. In that you will there will be a dashboard, as every analytics platform will have a dashboard. Similarly, cPanel will have a dashboard. On that dashboard, you have to do nothing else but go to File Manager. From there, you will have to go to the path that has been mentioned here. See, it mentions HashRocket packet application. So as simple as that, you're going to go to hashrocket.com. It starts to line up all of your website files here in this portion in cPanel. Okay, just as simple as a glossary. Okay, it starts to show up. It will say File Manager somewhat here in the table. You click on it, then you have to go to Packs, then you have to go to JS, then you have to go to Application. As soon as you click here, the code will open up. Delete that code and upload this new file that you have created here, the minified code that you have. That is all you have to do when it comes to technical analysis. First, the video or audio content that is unplayable, check it again, upload it back. If the image is not optimized, if the image is above 100 KB, compress it using free tools on Google. The last thing is the .js, which is the JavaScript files, or .css files. You just have to open them, copy the code that is showing up, and go up to Google, search simply search Minify JS, or Minify JS or Minify CSS. Open the very first link that you're going to get, input the code on this side, and you will get your minified output this side. Then there is a thing called cPanel. Any website you will ever create, if you want to do technical analysis, you will require a cPanel dashboard for yourself. So when you go on to cPanel, you will open your files manager. Then as simple as follow the path that is given here, as simple as that. You don't have to do anything else. Delete the file you already have and upload a new one, because this is the code that you have minified. Okay, am I clear? Can I move forward now?
Yes, yes.
Okay. So this is okay. Now let's come to the next thing was robots.txt. How do you do this robots.txt? You have to, for example, okay, for example, this is a website, presto.hardware. This is a website. Like I have worked with this website, so I know this one. Okay, for example, this is your website. Okay, and now this, as you can see, there's a contact page. There is, for example, there was also a payments page here. Now I have to first of all open up. You have to do nothing. Just you're going to write /robot.txt and click enter. See, this is you're going to get. As soon as you'll click enter, if it's your website, if it's a client website, just open their website. In the URL bar, just write /robots.txt. That's all. As soon as you'll do that, a code will start to open. Now, what does this code mean? Okay, first of all, the star, after user agent, it says star. Star means that your txt file is for all search engines. It's not only for Google, it's also for Bing, it's also for Yahoo. Every search engine there is, that is the meaning of the star there. Just, an insight of what codes actually means. Now, the next thing, it says optimization. You don't have to care anything about this. You just have to care about this. Disallow, disallow, disallow. This disallow means that the API, the partials, and the gallery web app, these three pages of your website are not to be crawled, are not to be crawled when the search engine crawler shows up on your website. This disallow is going to mean that when the web crawler shows up your website, that these are the three things that you don't have to crawl. Now, for example, it's a new website and you don't know how to do it, so you will copy this from here. For example, I'll copy it and I'll open this. Okay, so as it was written, there'll be user agent star. And then, for example, if your website has an admin page on which people write in their credentials, and for example, you have to also not crawl your about us page because there is some information, and if it gets lost, if it gets out in the world, if it gets crawled, it may be misused. So you just have to disallow /wp admin /. That's all. You just have to write your whatever web page of your website you wish to not be allowed to be crawled when your crawler shows up. This is all the coding you have to do, as simple as writing disallow before your web page. Okay, this was your robots.txt. The next thing that I mentioned was your sitemap. Okay, give me a second. I will open the sitemap for you. Share my screen. Okay, share. Let's go back here. Okay, I'm going to open a website now. For example, okay, see, if you're first of all, sitemap, as I've already told you, it's a map that you give to the crawler when it shows up at your doorstep. Now, how are you going to add a sitemap to your website? First of all, if you've created a website on WordPress, you don't have to create a sitemap for yourself. WordPress has automatically created a sitemap for you. All you have to do on your end would be to go up to the Google platform, and you have to add it Google Console, and you have to let the Google Console know that you have added a sitemap. So how you're going to add a sitemap? Exactly like robots.txt, you're going to have to write slash, then write sitemap.xml. That's all. That's all you have to write. Click enter. See, this is the sitemap the person whose website it is has already created, because see, it says Yoast SEO. It says Yoast SEO for a reason. A website which is created on WordPress. Does anyone know what are plugins? Does anyone know what are plugins? So plugins are basically your, yes, okay. So I don't have to, okay. So this is a type of plugin. Yoast SEO is a plugin in your WordPress. When you create a website on WordPress, this is a kind of plugin that you download and add to your WordPress website, WordPress where you are creating a website. So when you do this, when you add Yoast SEO, an XML sitemap is already created for you. So you don't have to create it yourself. Okay. Now, after this, after you have done this, you have to go up on your Google Console. You have to create a Google Console if you're going to do SEO for yourself. So go there, and there is, it is as simple as, like, just like cPanel, there is a sidebar here. Go up to the sidebar in the side scrolling bar and add your XML sitemap. That's all you have to do. It simply says XML sitemap on your console. It literally says XML sitemap. So you can click there and add your file. That's all you have to do and nothing else. So this is your XML sitemap. Okay. Now the next thing I'm going to talk about is your site audit. See, for example, you are working with a client and the client's website has been in motion for the last 5 years. Now, how would you ever get to know what's wrong with the website? Can you go through the code yourself, the entire code yourself? No, of course, you cannot go through the entire thing yourself. So what is advisable? What should you do on your end is you have the site crawling website. Okay, it will crawl your entire website for yourself and will give back a report to let you know all of this is wrong with your website, and now you have to work accordingly. Okay, give me a second. For example, I write this website and I click on checkup. It will take a second to load the result. Okay, it's done. Now, see, it says here improve your score. You can click on improve your score. Okay, see, it says issues to fix. It has already given you issues there are on your, you can say, the website. So you can go up to these JavaScript that I just told you about, how to do that minifying JavaScript, how to do the external style sheet, CSS layouts. I just told you how to minify this. Everything is given right here in one page. If you want to deep dive into it, you can go a little further, and it is going to explain you everything one by one. What is wrong, what's not. Okay, it will give you everything one by one. For example, see, it gives you an option how to fix. If you're new to SEO, for example, and you had no idea that I had to also write an alt type or text description about the images I'm putting up on your website. Simply create a website, be done with your website publication. As soon as your website is published, come back to your SEO site checker and let it crawl your website. It will crawl your website. It will let you know what is wrong with your CSS, either your Google Analytics is working or not, are the backlinks working or not. It will give you an entire report. Also lets you know how to fix it. You can click on how to fix it. It will tell you immediately how to do it step by step, and you can solve your problem right then and there. So this is a very first thing that you usually are supposed to do for your client, to figure out what's wrong with their already published website. Okay, there's also, see, this is a, you can say, a novice kind of tool. Okay, you can do this for someone who is just starting out in the digital marketing area, but for someone who has already been there, we'll use this one. We'll use a tool which is known as Screaming Frog. Okay, it has to be installed in your computer. It is not something you're going to find online. So you have to first of all download it in your computer, run it, and when it gets installed, I'm sorry, it also takes a second to load because it's a hefty file. It's a it takes a second. Okay, I've got it. So I can share it with you. The tool name is Screaming Frog, as it says here, as you can see. Okay, you have to enter your URL here. For example, I write www.dockyard.com, press enter, and it will start to crawl it. Okay, it will take a second for you. See, it has started to list all the web pages here. These are your web pages. The address that you can see, the address block, it starts to give your web pages. Here you can see the summary of all the okay, I have to buy it anyway. Let's ignore that part. Anyway, so this is where it gives you an overview of what all is wrong with your website. Okay, you can click one thing at a time. For example, okay, it's scrolling right now, but for example, I click on CSS. I click here. Here you can see what's actually wrong. It will give you an entire summary of what is wrong with you. As soon as you figure it out, you can do it for your website. If you have to send a report to your client, you can also export this uh, sheet by sheet, web page by web page, issue by issue. You can do it for yourself. See, it takes some time to crawl because it is not something that okay, see, it has scrolled it completely. See, total URLs encountered 500. All of them are encountered. For everything is crawlable on this website. This is what it means. So you can go through it. You can figure out what are the problems, what is not. Okay, for example, see. Uh, Here you can select the file you wish to work with. Here it starts to give you the addresses on your website, of your website exactly. You can just copy the issue from here, open it here. You can understand what the issue is about, open it on your browser and simply work on the code, or simply work on the image optimization, or what content optimization, whatever it is. Okay, this tool will take you some time to start to get working with it. Otherwise, SEO site checker is easier to, if you're new to it, you can use that first. Okay, let me close this one. Okay, now I'm going to move forward. Let's go back to our PPT. Okay, then there's this site audit. I just explained you how to do your site audit. These are the issues that you will encounter when it comes to your site audit. Other than this, there are a lot more. Okay, there's not just this, but these are some of the most important ones that I have listed here. The redirects, the structure, is it SEO friendly or not? This is also a problem. For example, your website wasn't HTTPS. Before it was HTTP. Now it is HTTPS. Okay, fine. Some web pages are still HTTP. They also exist in HTTP and they also exist in HTTPS. So that is a problem. You cannot have two similar pages, but one is SSL guarded and the other one is not. Make sure only one version of your website exists, not two. The Google crawler or any other search crawler will not crawl it higher for this very same reason. Okay, let's move forward. Okay, landing page. What is the landing page? Landing page is the very first page that your customer is going to see. Is my screen visible? I'm sorry. Is the PPT visible now? Okay, okay.
Yes, yes, yes.
See, okay. So landing page is the very first page, is the very first point of contact with your you can say the customer. The person is going to come to your website. It is advisable to always put a call to action. Okay, I am going to suggest you to open a few websites. When you'll open them, and this is a very normal thing. For example, you open my captain's website or Navkiran's website, anyone's website, you will figure it out. There's always a call to action button. Now, what is call to action? As the name suggests, people they are trying to they are asking the customer to do something, be it contact us, be it write your name or contact details here and talk to us, be it join us, matlab, those highlighted buttons that you see on your screen as soon as your website opens up, those things are called call to action. Okay, when you will create your Google Analytics platform, there's a goals section. Let me tell you, in that goal section you can choose what your goal of the website is, or what the goal of your advertisement is that you're putting up. Acha, okay, how many people have gone up on Instagram and it says sign up? Under that advertisement it says sign up. Has anyone seen it? Yes or no? Or on your Facebook it says sign up, and then you can click on it and it takes you to a registration form, or it takes you to their website, something like that. That is a call to action. Just to make sure that you've understood what a call to action button is. Exactly like that, there are call to action buttons on your website as well, and it is advisable to put a call to action on your landing page, so that as soon as people come to your website, they see what your website is about, and they can immediately contact you, immediately buy, or something like that. Okay, that is call to action, and that is important to put on your landing page. Now, landing page is for example, your home page is your supposed to be a landing page, or some service page is your landing page. For example, you can choose your landing page. Landing page is the most important page of your website, first of all, and as I've mentioned in the prior workshop sessions as well, the content should have keywords. There has to be only one heading that will go up, that should contain your primary keyword. All the other keywords that are related to your primary keyword, which are being used in the entire content, will be secondary keywords. I will give an example. For example, my primary keyword is SEO landing page. Okay, now the secondary keywords for this SEO landing page primary keyword would be best SEO landing page, SEO tips for landing pages, something like that, or search engine, page ranking, blog posts. These are semantic keywords. Semantic keywords is even, you can say, a step further from your primary keyword. Okay, other than that, as I've already mentioned, that your structure of content should be very clear. It should have some meta description. Your images should have a description which is known as alt tag. If you are it is advisable that you use internal links in your website. It is advisable to create as many backlinks as possible. Your images, videos, whatever is available on your landing page should be optimized, should be playable, be it in desktop format or in mobile format. Okay, all of this comes under your landing page. Then again, I have already discussed this tips and tricks with you right now. Okay, now let's come to social media marketing. social media marketing, see, it's a little, there's a difference between SEO and social media marketing. Social media marketing is biased on the basis of content. SEO requires a lot of content, but if your keywords start to rank, you will start to get some kind of attraction from your customers, people, your CTR will increase. When it comes to social media, your basic aim is to create content that is 10 times better than your competitor, so that people start to click on it. Your basic aim is to attract people by that very first line on your caption, by the photo, the post that you have put up, and create conversions. Now, I'm going to talk about certain websites that actually use SEO. For example, let's move to YouTube. Now, how many people already knew this, that YouTube also has an SEO, can be also SEO optimized?
I do.
Okay. So see, as I said in the very first one, very first day of our workshop, anywhere you see a search bar, it can be SEO optimized one way or the other, because people are writing words to search for something. Those words are keywords, and if keywords are being involved, it can be optimized at the end of the day. Now, why just for just for your and as an industry insight, the keywords that are used on YouTube are called channel keywords. As I explained yesterday, the types of keywords.
Hmm.
I'm sorry. Okay. Okay, let's move forward. So there are types of keywords. And the type is defined on the basis of what their actual work is. Primary keyword, secondary keyword, long tail keywords, navigational keyword, all types. So when it comes to YouTube, they are called channel keywords, as it is a YouTube channel. Okay. Now, these channel keywords, it is as similar, you just like your SEO, you're doing your keyword research, exactly like that, you can also do your YouTube research. Just like when you're doing a keyword research for Google, you can go up on Google and search something. Everything that comes in the suggestion box is your keyword research part. Okay, everything that comes in related portion is your keywords part. Exactly like that, when you search something in the Google in the YouTube search bar, everything that shows up as suggested is also your keyword. So for example, if I'm starting a business, if I'm starting a YouTube channel on SEO, so as simple as I'll go up on the YouTube, you can say SEO, I can YouTube search bar, I'll write SEO, and everything that comes underneath it in the suggestions, I can infer from that that, okay, this is what people are searching for, be it SEO tutorials, or is learn SEO in English, or learn SEO in Hindi, or SEO fast paced, something like that. Whatever people are using, you'll get to know that firsthand. You don't actually require any tool when it comes to social media keyword research. Next thing, there are three places where you can put in some keywords. Very first one is your video title, as you must have seen it on YouTube. The second thing is the description of the video. There is an arrow right beside the title of the video. You can click it, and there's also some description. Has anyone seen it? You can click the arrow just beside the title, and it will show a description portion underneath your video, where people usually write some extra knowledge they wish to incur about the video they've put up, or their contact details, or link to another video, something like that. So these are the two places where you can put in keywords. The last thing where you can put in keywords is your about us section. Every YouTube channel has an about us section, and there you can use as many keywords as you can. Also, there is a tags section. Tags section is something that will give you can say it is meant for keywords. You have to write what your YouTube channel is in the form of keywords. So the four places where you can add your you can say keywords are: the very first one is the title of your video, the second is your description, the third is your about us page, and the last one is your channel tags. Now, it is advisable to have a description of about 800 words, not characters. 800 words is a lot of words, so you can write a lot of things in your description. It's all good. It's not like when it comes to your website SEO, where there is a guideline of using up to 155 characters only. The second thing is your channel tags, where it is advised to have 75 characters, and in your title Usually of your YouTube title, the guideline one is 100 characters, but it is advisable to not cross 60 characters. People usually think, acha, YouTube has allowed me 100 characters, let me use all the 100 characters. It is not like that. YouTube ranks better any video which has up to 60 characters title, not actually 100. So I think you can keep it in your mind if you have a YouTube channel or if you wish to create one sooner than later. Okay, let's move on to the next thing. Amazon. How many of people have used Amazon before? No one has used Amazon before?
No, many times.
Many a times. Okay. Now, I wish anyone who has, okay, have you ever thought about starting an online business, selling something online? I have many a times.
Yes. But I was unsuccessful.
Okay. So, what were you trying to sell?
I was trying to open a e-commerce store over Shopify or something else.
Okay.
I can't.
Shopify is very easy. You should take some tutorials on that, and you can start your e-commerce business. I wish I could. I was trying to start my e-commerce business with candles. I absolutely love candles, so I thought to start a business there. Anyway, so at that point in time, I actually came across this SEO as well, Amazon SEO. It also has a bar. It also has a search bar. Let's move to Amazon itself, okay, so that it's easier for you to understand. So there are basically 3 ways where how you can optimize on Amazon, okay. Okay, I will open another one. Here it is. I've already opened it for you. Okay, let's start. This is your search bar. As I said, you don't have to use any tool when it comes to social media marketing SEO. There's nothing much to put your head to or anything. You don't have to create a lot of lists like you would have to do for your website SEO. So here, as in the search bar, for example, I search shoes. See, everything is here. You just have to create a list for this. That's all you're going to need. If you're going to sell shoes, these are all the keywords that you're going to need. Shoes for women, shoes organizers, shoes for men, something like this. So always remember, when you're going to sell something on Amazon, even if you're doing it for a client, these are the keywords you're going to wish to use. This is how your product is going to rank higher than anyone else. Now, for example, I write running shoes. See, running shoes for women, men Nike. Nice. Now, can you see? There are branded keywords as well. There's Adidas also, there's Nike also. So you should make sure that you always use all kinds of keywords. You can use, for example, 1-word keyword shoes. You should always use 2-word 2 to 3, 4-word keywords that are running shoes, or running shoes for men wide, or running shoes for women with art support. So when you're selling something on Amazon, make sure there is a mix of keywords that you're using. Also add branded keywords like Nike, Adidas, Vera Moda, Promote, something like that. This is the very first thing that you can do. Second thing, okay, this is something that I don't know if you people know. See, people make mistakes. People make spelling mistakes. But if I write shoes ka spelling galat, I will still get some result. So when it comes to certain websites, for example, Amazon, you want to make sure that you have added those spelling mistakes in your keyword list as well. Okay, because everyone, sometimes even when people are in a hurry, they just write anything and they move on with it. So you want to make sure that you have added, this is a trick that keyword researchers do. They usually add words with spelling mistakes, because people, the normal customers, are usually in a hurry. They're searching, they just write, even us, if we don't have if we remove our auto writer from our phones, we'll be making thousands of spelling mistake every day. So just like that, people are making mistakes every time they write something. be it on Google search, be it on Amazon. So make sure you include these words. The next thing is, yes, there is a tool for this as well. Why not? I'm going to open that tool for you. It is free and anyone can use it. How so many times you want to use it? Okay, I'm sorry, I had opened it a second ago to make sure that I have everything open. See, can you see Google, YouTube, Amazon, Bing, Yandex, Wikipedia, eBay, Alibaba, everything's here. What is Fiverr? Does anyone know what's Fiverr? Does anyone know what's Fiverr? Fiverr is actually a freelancing website. People who freelance can go up there and take up, work. Even there, every freelancer is, when you will sign up to that website, the freelancers start to rank according to the work they have done, according to the feedback that they have got from their employee. So that is how that works. So if you're new to Fiverr, for example, and most of us will go up to these freelancing websites to get work as a digital marketer, as I'm expecting. So there also you can use keywords to rank higher than other competition that you're going to have. Okay, then people who have already been there on Fiverr for some time and has great feedbacks from their employee. So how will you compete with them? This is how you're going to compete with them. You're going to use better keywords that people are searching for. Okay, for example, here I go up on Amazon. I write shoes. Now I sell in India, so I'm going to choose India. If you're selling in Australia, you choose Australia. If you are selling in USA, you choose USA, and then you can search. See, it will give you an entire list. You can choose the ones you want, or you can choose add all here, whatever works for you. And then you can export this file in a CSV. It is as simple as that. You don't have to do the hoo-ha that we do when it comes to our website SEO. This is as simple as that, and you can list your products on Amazon simply like that. Okay, let's move forward. Let's go back to the PPT. So this was our Amazon, Pinterest. Okay, Pinterest. Now, Pinterest is something where you can only see images. So when it comes to images, what you can there are some pointers that you should make sure that you're looking after. First of all, the picture that you put up. There are two options that you can do. Either you have to give it a title, and you can use hashtags. So make sure whatever hashtags you're using are trending, and the keywords that you're using are also trending. The title that you have given to your picture that you have posted, it has to be unique. The unique things will always rank higher, and the title of your picture should have certain keywords, and the hashtag should be the ones that are trending. You can search the trendy hashtags as simple as going up on Pinterest, or there is a Pinterest keyword research tool that you can use. People usually forget about this tool, but it actually exists and it's totally completely free. So you can go up to either keyword tool. There are two tools. Either you can go up to keywordtool.io, or you can use a Pinterest keyword research tool to figure out the keywords that you wish to put up. The next thing is, even for videos, you rather than giving a title, you also have to give it tags. Even when you post a video on for example Facebook, there is a section which says, okay, add tags to your video. So you can do that in Pinterest as well. Now, what if you are out of ideas? You can go up to Brands 24. Now, what is Brands 24? Hold on, I will share my screen and I'll let you know what is actually Brands 24, because it is one of the most important tool, not only while we are doing, you can say, competitor analysis, but also to figure out what's trending. Okay, so that you can also create some content on the trending part. Okay, let me move to dashboard. Okay, I'll have to log in. It's asking to upgrade or what? I may be over with this free plan. Anyway, for example, you write Branch 24 also gives you a keyword option. So you write your keyword, or it also gives you an option to write the HTTPS URL of your competitor. As soon as you write your competitor's name or the keywords that you're trying to search for, and you click enter, it will show you every single place, be it Instagram, be it a forum, be it a blogging website, be it you can say Pinterest, be it Facebook, any place, any social media website, any forum, any blogging website, everything will start to show up in a very you can in a very planned manner. Like all the Pinterest will show in one corner, Instagram will show in another. So you can pick what. You can say what social media you are trying to spy on of your competitors. It is as simple. Go up to Branch 24, put on your competitors, you can say HTTPS, or you can put in the keywords you're trying to search for, and you can see exactly what's trending on Pinterest, or what's trending in that arena on Facebook or Instagram, wherever you wish to post your content. Okay, let's get back to PPT. Okay, now comes LinkedIn. I think, okay, there are two kinds of now you can say content based website. First one is LinkedIn, which is basically for B2B, and the second one is Instagram, which is mostly for Gen Zs. Your father won't be there, but we will be always. So make sure when you're using different social media platforms, you're creating content accordingly. What you're posting on LinkedIn will not work on Instagram for sure. No one is going to read your industry insight blog on Instagram, but you can post a reel there. You can post a myth and fact kind of content there, something which attracts the Gen Z, something which attracts millennials, 90s born, but are there for fun. So it is usually something that people go up there to chill. People don't go up there to create connections. People don't go up there to find jobs. But otherwise, on the other hand, LinkedIn, people go up to there to make connections. People go up to there to network out with other people in the corporate or in their industry. So make sure as soon as your social media platform changes, your strategy of your marketing campaign that you're going to put up should change. Okay, now comes LinkedIn. Then you can go up on Hofer's LinkedIn page, and you can go up on Hofer's Instagram page. You will see clear difference between the two. Okay, on our Hofer's LinkedIn page, you will see sessions that we have taken, the webinars, the seminars that go on every Friday night, that we the seminars that are taking place in our company, the new people who are joining in, the diversity that we offer. So you can go up to the LinkedIn page and see that. You can go up how we work, what kind of projects we work on, as compared to our Instagram, where you can learn something. To be very honest, you can learn about customer research, you can learn about mystery shopping, you can learn about data analytics. If and in a very you can say in a very you can say attractive manner, something that would attract the Gen Zs on that platform. We write captions there in a tone that would attract the millennials, and that is not meant for LinkedIn, but for something, for the hashtags, the kind of captions, the kind of content we put up on LinkedIn. It is very formal. It is in a very formal tone to attract the people who are already in the corporate, to attract college students, to attract HRs of different companies, something like that. So when your social media platform changes, your action plan should change. Also, when it comes to LinkedIn, just like Pinterest, you also have a content suggestion tool specifically made for LinkedIn. You don't have to go any further. LinkedIn has already made a content suggestion tool, just like Pinterest. The last thing, as I've talked about, is audience. Have very clear target when it comes to your audience. If you are if for example us as Hofers, our company gives out services in various domains. So we tend to attract entrepreneurs, we tend to attract HR heads, we tend to attract management teams. Okay, so we create our content accordingly. If you are someone who has an e-commerce business, you are looking for converting customers, so your content should be according to that. And this is some traffic overview. Now, when do you post? This is also a very important part when it comes to your you can say when it comes to your social media posting, because there you're posting. Website is something that is there 24/7, the same thing is there. But when it comes to social media platforms, you're posting content. So your post, when you have you should post at the point in time when most people that you're trying to attract are online. Okay, because if they're not online and they are following, for example, even 100 200 people, you may get lost in that kind of traffic that they're going to get on their page. So it's important to post at a time when your target customer, when your target audience is present on that platform. So you can figure that out using as simple as Google. Make sure also there are 43% female as compared to 57% male. So it is almost equal, not there yet, but okay, we are reaching equality when it comes to gender diversity. So with that, you should make content that is pleasing to both the gender. You should make neutral content, try to make that. If not, you may offend someone, so make sure you are creating content that doesn't offend people. Okay, the next thing that I will talk about is US users. 76% users on your LinkedIn are from the US. So you have to make sure that you're up to date. For example, on LinkedIn, people usually post about the current affairs. People usually post about the ongoings of the industry in the news. So usually if your customer is in the US, you should try to post something which is very US centric, which is very US audience centric, because there anyways is 76% of them on LinkedIn. Other than that, make sure you have done your audience research well before you start something, well before you start to put out any kind of content. And there has been an increment of 60% in content creation only on LinkedIn. I won't even get to the traffic overview of Instagram. It will boggle you. So for LinkedIn, it is 60% hike as compared to last year. So just imagine, there's so much content being created, and for you to rank higher, for you to show up, you have to really put in some work. Okay, and that is it from my side. These are the blogs that I follow, and I am going to encourage you to follow as well, because the SEO realm is changing every day. And for that, you have to follow some kind of media to keep yourself up to date. Neither you will fall back and your competitors are going to win. These are some of the tools that I have mentioned. And in the backlink section, yes, while you have to submit backlinks, you are going to submit videos, you have to submit graphics, articles, forums, question answers on Reddit, for example. So there are some submission websites I have linked here, which can be sent to you if you wish so. So that is it from my side. I am going to open the platform for questions now. If there are any, or someone from my team member can take over. Self-paced learning. Okay, so you can go up on, simply you can go up. See, I wouldn't encourage you to pay any money to learn something anymore. Okay, we are in the 21st century. Everything, you can learn everything for free. So I will suggest you to go up on YouTube and search for SEO tutorials. Whichever language you're comfortable in, watch it in that, and watch at least from 2 to 3 channels, so that you can get a 360-degree view of SEO rather than just learning from one. And as I said, follow the blogs, follow the media, because those blogs aren't actually coming from any SEO guru. They are coming from the tools. As I don't know if you could read or not, they came from the blogs are from the SEO tools website itself. Ahref is a backlink analysis SEO tool, but it also sends out blogs every time there is an update. It also sends out blog every time there is an update on any other tool. Okay, so to follow the industry, you should just follow the blogs that are being put out there by the tools agencies itself. Okay, you don't have to go any further than trying to actually find some SEO digital marketing guru out there. And when it comes to self-paced learning, you can go up on YouTube, watch SEO tutorials from at least 3-4 channels that in the language that you're comfortable in. Please don't spend any money on learning. Everything can be done for free now, so I'm gonna suggest that. Anything else, or else my teammates will take over?
All right, Sanskriti, it was a wonderful presentation. Thank you so much for
Thank you.
being here. I think there are some other questions as well. They're asking you about Ahref linking and all those things. If you want to answer
Can you
that.
tell more on Ahref? Ahref is a backlink analysis tool. Okay, just like Mozbar, as I explained yesterday, there is a Mozbar tool that I went on to do some backlink analysis for you yesterday. Exactly like that, Ahref is also an SEO tool. Certificates that are being that are given some credibility in the SEO world are actually from Google. You can go up on Google, learn their Google Analytics, learn from Google SEO, learn Google AdWords. Don't go out for certificates that have no usage, that have no credibility. Make sure you get your certificates from platforms that are credible in the market. I can suggest you that the ones from Google are totally credible, and you can also learn Hootsuite. Hootsuite is actually a platform where you can manage all of your social media at one place. Okay, for example, you have to post something on LinkedIn, Instagram, and Twitter all at the same time. You can do it all at the same time using one dashboard, that is Hootsuite. So you can try that as well. Other than that, certifications from Google are very much credible. Other than that, do not do any certificate which is not for free. Do not pay anyone for any certificate. It is of no use. What is EAT? EAT. Oh, I thought no one will ask me that, but okay, anyway. So EAT is actually EAT, full form of EAT. EAT is actually a short form. So EAT is actually expert, authority, and trustworthy. It is the full form is expert, authority, and trustworthy. It is how your Google ranks it. It is an acronym that has been given by Google to the websites that actually rank higher. So the website that actually rank higher will be trustworthy, first of all, will have higher authority. When it in the on the web, it will have higher authority. Higher authority means that there are a number of backlinks to that very website, and number of backlinks that are being created from websites that are actually better than the website that you're talking about. Okay, so no spammy website, no spammy backlinks, and also it is an expert in its industry. By expert, it means that it has a presence on social media platforms as well, on forums as well, on blogging websites as well. So these are the three things. This is how Google search quality index describes how your website should be. It is an acronym. Anything else? How do you on the Google page stats? Oh, right. Sorry. Yes, I think I've asked that yesterday. Give me a second. I'll open my Google. Actually, those are just some Google extensions. Okay. It is nothing else. Those are just some Google extensions that you can add. I have added the things that you can see on mine. And actually, one is Reddit keyword tool. The other one is Ubersuggest. The other one is Mozbar. These are the three that I have right now. I also have Grammarly. I think without Grammarly, there's nowhere to go anymore. We are using autocorrector on our phones and Grammarly on our webs. So these are the 4 or 5 things that you see. The Reddit thing is why you see those stats. You know that domain authority showing up, how much presence it has on Facebook and Pinterest. As soon as you will add that Reddit keyword tool to your you can Chrome extension, it'll start to show up on your page as well, Gavin. Okay. Welcome.
All right, Sanskriti, it was really nice having you here. And thank you so much for this wonderful presentation. So with
Glad.
this, we are marking the end of the 3 days SEO workshop. And I hope that this was like really uh, useful for everyone who has attended. The good thing is that we'll be distributing certificates to people who have attended at least 2 of the 3 sessions on this workshop. All right. For the interns and employees, we have another session coming up at around 8:30. That is Friday night event. So it's being organized by the IT team, IT for HRMS team, and there's going to be a special talk on the DevOps. So I would request everyone to be present at 8:30 sharp on the very same link. Thank you. Thank you so much.